Hello and welcome to today's video. We're kind of in a different angle than usual because I want to see if I point my camera this direction and I look this direction, if I'll have less glare in my lens, because normally I'm kind of like facing a window. So we'll see if this helps. I do feel a little awkward. Maybe if I like move my chair so I'm facing the camera better and I'm not twisting my body. Is that better? I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna go through all the books that I read in July and the books that I plan to read in August. I'm gonna use my phone quite a bit because I have read a lot of audiobooks and then some Kindle books, and so I don't physically have all of the books here in front of me. It's also pretty warm in this room, so if I look hot or I look like I'm sweating, that's why. The first book that I read this month was Skeleton Song by Shauna McGuire. I think it's only available online or like on Kindle. So I read this on my Kindle, and this is part of the Wayward Children series. It's kind of hard to talk about this without talking about the entire series, but if you like Portal worlds, like kind of like Alice in Wonderland vibes, like definitely check out the series. I highly recommend. There's a book that comes out every year and it is one of my favorite series, and I'm always looking forward to the next book. So when I found out that there were short stories, I had to check them out and I really loved them. I rated this one 4 stars. The next book that I read was Aftershock, which is also like a novella, I guess, and it takes place in the Stonebraid Chronicles series by Bonnie S. Calhoun. Again, it's kind of hard to talk about this because it is in a series. It is book 1.5. I don't know how I feel about this series yet. I honestly don't even know if I'm gonna like finish it, so we'll see. I give this 3 stars. The next book that I read was Throne of Glass. I'm so glad I started the series. I have read all the ACOTAR books, and then my little sister recommended me to read Throne of Glass, and I am loving it. I actually just finished the second book, and I feel like the second book is even better because we know the characters and their personalities, and we've kind of like seen them start relationships, and like I don't know, you just learn a lot more about the characters in the second book, and I really love it. This one I gave 4 stars. The second one, I'm trying to decide. I feel like it's maybe like a 4.5. I don't know that it's quite a 5, but like we're close. But this is basically a book about an assassin, and she is recruited to be the king's champion. If you like kind of like tournament style things, you might like this. I was hoping that they would play into like the tournament or game portion of this a little bit more, because that is one of the like major plot points, but they don't really talk about it too much aside from like, oh, it happened, this person died, this person got like eliminated, blah blah blah. But there weren't too many details until the very end where they have to duel each other. And so basically these different people have picked potential champions, and they have to do all these like different battles and these different like things like arrow shooting or like scaling a building or things like that, and then whoever does the worst gets kind of like booted, and at the end they all have to duel against each other. And so this is about an assassin who was basically in prison, and she gets recruited by the prince, and she is you just get to see her like make relationships with the prince and with the, I don't remember his title, he's like the top of the like guards, whatever. He's called Chief of the Guards. I don't know. Anyway, you get to see their relationships and their like friendship kind of grow. And obviously I'm not going to tell you how it ends, but it's interesting. And then there's kind of like this mystery aspect to it because they keep seeing these like word marks, and they're talking about this magic that has like disappeared. And so it's a very intriguing start to a series, and I'm really looking forward to reading the rest of this series. So after I finished that, I did a blind date with a book, which I have a whole video up on that, where I read Writers and Lovers, and I actually liked this so much more than I was expecting to. It's kind of more of like an adult kind of a romance. Basically, she's broken up with a boy, and a parent died, and she's just like going through this grief, and just the way that they describe it and talk about it, and then she like, you know, meets another guy and stuff, and just the way they go through it is very interesting, and I don't think I've ever read anything like this before, but I did enjoy it, and I gave it 5 stars. If you want to hear more about it, go watch the video. After that, I read One of Us is Lying, and I did that as an audiobook. I thought it was an okay book, but not like amazing. I've kind of gotten in this like mystery kind of like vibe lately, I guess. I don't know. I was reading A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and then I saw this on Libby, and I was like, oh, let's try this. But I honestly didn't think it was amazing, so I only gave it 3 stars. Basically, you have these kids that were sent to detention, and one of the kids ends up dying because he drinks water with peanut oil in it, and he is allergic to peanuts. And then they're trying to figure out who the murderer is. And like, it's an interesting concept. I just didn't think it was done exceptionally well. I thought it was okay. I have since read the second book and I did like that better. That was actually the next book that I read, was One of Us Is Next, which is the sequel, and I think there's a third book out, but I haven't read that one yet. I did think One of Us Is Next was better. I just like the concept of it more. It's taking place at the same school, but just the way that it works is a little bit different. So in the first one, they have this boy who is outing everyone's secrets and making everybody look bad, like this person cheated on this person cheated on a test, like, you know, all these things. And in this one, it's more of like a truth or dare sort of thing. So the person running it texts you and it says like truth or dare. And if you say truth, or if you just don't respond, they put out a like really bad secret about you. But if you say dare, then they give you a dare, like something you have to do, like go kiss this person, or like go cut the head off of a mascot, or like, you know, just like silly things like that. So that was actually really interesting. I enjoyed the concept, I think, better than the first book, and I gave that one 4 stars. And I don't know that I described that very well. Someone did end up dying, and then they're trying to figure out who this person that's like running this game in this school is. And that's like how we get the like murder mystery aspect of that book. The next book I read was Happy Place, and I don't read romance. I haven't really read romance since like middle school, but I kept hearing people talk about this book and saying that even though they don't like other Emily Henry books or whatever, they've loved this one. And I have to say, I actually really loved it too. I don't remember if I gave it 5 stars. It was 5 stars or 4 stars. I gave it 5 stars. It's maybe like a 4.5 now that I've had time to think about it, but that rounds up to 5, so it's fine. I am sure everyone has heard the synopsis of this book a million times. Basically, you have these friends, and they all have this cabin that they go to every year, and there's this couple. They were engaged, but they've broken up and not told their friends. And so they're spending this time with their friends trying to pretend like they haven't broken up and like they're still together, which obviously is just so awkward and leads to some just interesting things happening. But I just thought it was really good. It was like kind of lighthearted in a like summery way, but also kind of heavy and like dealing with real relationship struggles and things like avoiding conflict. And I will say there is a little bit of like, I don't want to say it's a miscommunication trope, because it's just that this character is like, she tries to bend over backwards for everybody and she tries to make everybody happy, but in doing so, everyone thinks that she's just passive. And so there's sort of this miscommunication, because she's like, I just want to make you happy, because as a child, her family was never happy. So she just tries to like do her best to make everybody happy. She's a people pleaser, which I totally relate to. So maybe that's part of why I liked this book. But in doing so, people feel like she doesn't necessarily care about them, because she's just not good at showing her like passion for their relationship or fighting for the relationship. Anyway, this book goes all into that, and it's just really interesting. There is a little bit of spice if you're worried about that. There are a couple scenes that are not closed door. I think there's like one in particular that I can think of, and the rest are just like, you know, a kiss here and there or whatever. But there's one that's like a little bit explicit. But other than that, it's relatively clean. But yeah, I really love this book. It's making me wonder if I should read more romance or if this is just a fluke that I enjoyed this. So let me know if there's any other good romance books that you think I should pick up, because I just don't know. And I feel like definitely not YA romance. I don't know that I can do that. It's too much love triangle, but at the same time, I love watching that on like Netflix, like To All the Boys I Loved Before. I loved watching it. I just don't know that I would enjoy reading it. So I don't know. Maybe I should give it a shot. Let me know if there's any romance books I should read. After that, I finished Crown of Midnight, which I literally finished it today. And I think I'm giving it like 4.5, maybe 5 stars. Maybe I'll just round up to 5. I really loved it. Like I said, I already talked about it sort of before. you really just get to learn more about the characters and see them kind of like grow and get to know each other and then learn about their past, which I really love. There's like a lot of interesting things revealed. Again, because it is a second book in a series, I feel like I can't say too much without like spoiling some previous things, but if you like learning about new magic systems and things like that, I will say this one's not that bad to learn about, because in the first book, it's very light on the magic because magic has been banned, it's been erased, it's gone. And then in the second book, we start to see magic kind of like re-emerge in some ways, but you're definitely being introduced to it pretty slowly. So if you're the kind of person that gets confused with fantasy because it's too much being thrown at you, I feel like this one's okay. Like, it's not that bad. It's just like you have to learn a couple places, but even then the book really just takes place in one area. So I feel like if you're new to fantasy, this actually might be a good place for you to start. But that's just me, and I've read a lot of fantasy, so maybe I'm not wrong. Anyway, I love the book. I'm really looking forward to reading the rest of the series. Okay, so that's the books that I read in July. Now let's talk about the books that I'm hoping to read in August. I think let's start with the books that I've already started reading and just didn't finish in July. The first is Stone of Destiny. I picked this book up while I was in Scotland, and it's the story of Ian Hamilton and how he stole the Stone of Destiny from Westminster Abbey in England and brought it back to Scotland. It is a true story, but an entertaining one. I've watched the movie and I've been wanting to read the book for years, and when I saw it in a gift shop in Scotland, I just had to pick it up. The next is Designing Your New Work Life. And I actually got this book for free from work, and then they decided to make it a book club read at work. So we have a quarterly book club where we read books like this. They're all about like workplace stuff or career stuff, or we've done a couple that were like, I don't know what to call it, like racial sensitivity or like how to be an ally, things like that. They're always really interesting reads. There have been one or two books that I didn't really like, but this one so far I'm actually really enjoying. I can't say too much because I'm only like 75 pages into it, but it's about just like designing your work life. So it's kind of saying like, okay, in your life, you have certain things that you can have. You can have impact, you can have a lot of money that you're making, or you can like have a lot of expression. You kind of have to choose like which one's more important to you and what's good enough for now. I really appreciate so far in the first couple chapters that I'm talking about making life work for you where you're at and making yourself have satisfaction with the job that you're at, because you can't necessarily always just leave, right? And so you can maybe adjust your job so that you have satisfaction with where you're at, even if it's not where you want to be. And then you can design how you maybe do some self-development, career development, and design it so that you can get to where you want to be. So say right now you're not making as much money as you want to be, you can take steps to get another job or a better job or get a promotion to make more money, or you can make steps to become an independent artist, and like maybe you're not going to make a lot of money, but you're going to have a lot of expression. And so that's really what this book is about. And it's about also noticing things in your job that give you satisfaction or that make you happy and feel like you're doing something. And then noticing areas where maybe it's lacking and seeing like where can you improve those. So interesting book so far. Haven't finished it, obviously, so hopefully gonna finish this in August. It is the book read for the entire quarter, but I tend to read the books a little bit faster because I just like to read in the mornings, and so on workday mornings I'll read this for like 20-30 minutes. The next book that I am currently reading is this Best Loved Short Stories of 19th Century America. I don't intend on finishing this month, but what I've been trying to do is reading a short story after I finish a book. So for each like at least physical book that I finish, I'll read one short story. They range anywhere from like 6 to like 20 or 30 pages. So sometimes they're really quick and sometimes they're not, but because they are from like 19th century, they too tend to be a little bit dense, which is why I'm not just sitting down and reading them consecutively. I like to read one at a time so I can kind of digest it, but this is probably going to take me a few months to get through. I am on page 226 and it has about 600 pages, so it's going to take us a little time. The next book is Paper Towns by John Green. I don't even know what this is about. I just kind of want to read it, and I found it at Half Price Books for about $1. So I had to buy it. That's all I really have to say here. Sometimes I like picking up books that I've seen around a lot or heard like, oh, people loved this book, or I've just like seen it everywhere. I like to pick it up and then just read it and not know anything about it going in. I just think it's interesting. But that's just me. Okay, so the first book that I have on hold right now that I actually have on my shelf, so I'll probably start listening to this next, is Know My Name by Chanel Miller. And I don't know a ton about this, but she was one of the victims of Brock Turner. So I think it'll be really interesting to read from her perspective. Obviously, this is not going to be the easiest read to listen to or to like physically read either. But I've heard really good things about it, and I've been interested in it, and I saw it was on Libby, so I decided to put it on hold. After that, I'll probably just continue working on reading the Throne of Glass series. I think the next book is Heir of Fire or something like that. Unfortunately, on Libby, these books have ridiculous hold times, so I might end up just buying them and reading them physically, or buying them on Audible, or if they're on Scribd or Scribd, I never know how to say that. Maybe I'll get that app for a month or two. I canceled that membership because I've been using Libby so much that I wasn't really using it, but if they have this series and I can check it out immediately, I might just get it for a month or two because I could probably finish several books in a couple months' time. Anyways, those are the books I'm hoping to get to in August, and it's crazy that it is almost August. Like, August is tomorrow when I'm filming this, and then September is fall, right? It's basically fall. I feel like by my birthday, which is on the 23rd of September, it's kind of like rainy and dreary, so I'm kind of ready for those fall vibes. I have a couple books that I really want to read this fall, but I've been holding on to them so that I could read them in that like fall atmosphere because it didn't feel right to read it in the summer. So anyway, that's all I have for this video. I feel like I've talked for a hot minute, so I'm gonna stop now. I hope to see you all in the next video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye!